Hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the Metaphysical Hour. I'm Julia Cannon and this is my co-host, Tracie Mahan. Yay! We're here. And I'm going to switch my view real quick so I can see you.
Oh, well, I like it when you can see me. Although if I was, making faces or doing something, you could get away with a heck of a lot more if you couldn't see me.
I need to know. Because anything is possible with you.
Anything is possible. We've talked about that.
It's possible.
It's possible. Yeah, anything is possible. Let's just show everybody what's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Anyway, so glad to be here with you. So glad you're here and so excited to be back. Tonight we thought we would just do a wild and crazy, some of our metaphysical stuff where we just kind of go to all these links and just get into really cool stuff and don't really have a theme and just
no we can take notes all day long, and whatever comes out of these pretty little mouths of ours is usually nothing to do with what we wrote down. So we can use what we had on there as a stepping stone. We can start from there and kind of pretend that that's what we were going to talk about, but we'll see what happens. I like it. We're just gonna throw it out there and see. Yeah, like we're fishing. We'll throw the bait out and see if anything bites.
I mean, we both do this. I mean, I'm finally at a place where I can claim what happens, what I do, and it's like, for so long, it was like, I don't know, how to describe it, but you were always pushing me. And if anybody wants to get pushed into developing their abilities, just get Tracie to help you out. I mean, she is excellent at it and she will not stop. She is.
And I'll put you on the spot.
Relentless is the word. Relentless.
She loves. She's saying it with love, you guys. She's saying that with love.
Absolutely. But boy, it used to really aggravate me.
Truth.
Because she kept pushing me in an area that was really, really uncomfortable for me. And I didn't understand why she was doing it. I was like, I don't do that. Don't you understand? I don't do that.
But I did understand.
And
yes,
so
you did.
But yeah, she'd push me and it would still happen. I mean, it would be like, so I'd realize, oh, okay, maybe I can do that. Maybe that is something, but it was uncomfortable. I will tell you, it was uncomfortable to do it. Even though it worked, it was very uncomfortable. So I don't know if anybody's out there feeling that way, because anything new, developing, it may not always feel comfortable. You're stepping out of that comfort zone. You're stepping into something that's a little new and strange and feels odd, and you're trying it on for size. Mm-hmm. See if it fits. Not sure about it. And now I'm very, very comfortable.
Hey.
Yeah, and so I it's like Kaya introduced me as a channeler this morning. Awesome. It was like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I do.
That word didn't make you cringe or wonderful.
It's just now you're trying to push me to do it a certain way, and I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way.
I am?
Yeah, you have done it. It's like, no, that's not how mine works. That works for you. It doesn't work
you're right. I know what you mean. Okay, yeah.
And so that's where, but it may go that way. I don't know, because you have a tendency, if you're pushing for something, it's like you sense something there. It's like something, and I think that's why you know that potential is there or something, and so that's where you do that. And I think we do that a lot with people. We sense their stuff many more times than we sense our own, and what we're capable of, and so I know you
wait till you start talking to the new ones that you haven't got to talk to yet.
Oh, you mean the ones that popped up this morning?
Did they? Oh, I didn't get to watch that this morning. So
I'm awesome. Like, who is this group? Because usually it's like just a feeling of a 1 or a 2, or it's like it's a high. They have. Gosh, I'm getting all the goosebumps. They have represented themselves to me like a board, like an executive board.
Makes sense. Just does.
It's like, and they even said something about like they're masters of the craft or of their craft or something like that. It's like, I'm not sure exactly what that, but it's like, and the feeling was there, and they stayed with me all day. So that was, and they're here now, as you probably.
I feel them.
Yeah. So, but it was like, who are you? What are you doing here and stuff? And all I got was, it was important. It was an important thing. Maybe it's important what's going on in the world right now. And so they're right here. I don't know. I've got more to explore with them. Maybe we can do that on the show.
Maybe. Some of it's a personal message for you, though.
Okay. All right. But it was really interesting how, I mean, it's like a big boardroom desk almost. It's like this, it's a boardroom kind of thing. It's
a lot of times they like, they have that horseshoe desk and they're all around that table or whatever. Yeah,
it's like
you stand there right in that opening, and then they're all like focused on you, and you're like, they're all here. The gang's all here. Yeah. But what's really fun is when your council or your board is a collection of different galactic energies, like you've got all these different representations at the table. And then it's like, oh my gosh, who do I ask my questions to? You guys are all here.
Yes, and you get more visuals. I sense them, and I get like I said, that's when I can sense like a wood table. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's like the only thing I see is this table. And I think that was
now.
That was so that I knew it was like a board. It was like that was where that was coming
gotcha.
from. That like the council thing or whatever. The rest of it, I just know there's a group. There's a group of different beings. It's just different energies. I can't differentiate them right now. That's not coming through.
Oh,
it's just
yet
the board. Exactly. It's just the board, and it's important.
It is important. It is, and some of that is personal.
Okay. All right.
I will say that again. Some of it is personal.
So we will continue that part later. If you are available.
And there we go. Yes. More later.
Anyway, but what was coming through, and it was like, so that could be some of this stuff. And it's like our subject line, and these are important deals. This is important stuff to understand. And what kept coming through this morning, and this is what I'm feeling again. So I guess this must be huge. This must be a huge piece right now.
Okay, I got to point out what you're doing. Did you see what you did?
No.
You're like talking about this thing that's huge. It's huge. And what do? You start pulling your shirt together and you start covering your throat. And you did this. Go watch the video. It's like she's building a shield.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead. You guys saw that here, right here on this show. Okay. Okay, she's getting inspired now.
This is a G-rated show. So anyway.
I'm gonna cry. That one was
No, but it was like the thing that keeps coming through, and this has been coming through for several weeks, and I think we addressed it last week as well. And several, it keeps coming through is the personal responsibility.
Yes.
For what's going on, your place in everything that's happening, your responsibility for your creations, your responsibility for what's going on in your bubble, your world.
Right.
And it's like, and that's what feels, it's like, this is so huge. And I know that when you get this, in place for yourself, your whole world changes. And then that's really what changes the world. It's like, it's that simple. I mean,
it is.
It's that simple, but that big.
Yeah, it is big. It's huge. And I'm sorry I was looking away, but you know me, I got to do the techie thing. So I got this going live on the Dolores Cannon page. I got it on going with my page. And I am trying to watch the chats or what you guys are posting in BBS Radio and Dolores Cannon. So you might see me dot. It doesn't mean I'm not listening to Julia.
I'll just talk louder. Tracie! Listen!
Listen! Why are you looking away?
I need your attention. Here.
Oh my goodness, yes. So this is going to be really a fantastic show because, we started off with one subject, but it really looks like we're going to go with some channeling and some personal ownership. Take some responsibility. Take your ownership. One of the words that my channel used the other day was arrogance. How could you be so arrogant to think, blah, blah, blah. And that goes in so many different directions. Like, how could you be so arrogant to think that you're not good enough for this.
Yeah.
So you're, and they're using it like that as well.
Wow. Where we think it's the other way. It's like you're low self-esteem. It's all these low things.
That you're not worthy.
Yeah.
Get your ego out of the way. You are worthy.
You are worthy. Yes.
Yeah. So it's powerful times, and so many people are coming into this. And one of my experiences with doing the channeling is the light language. Mm-hmm. And that seems to be a very big piece to mine, is bringing in that light language and the frequencies that are changing and shifting people just from hearing the language.
Exactly. They were just saying before you even said that, and maybe you said it to me before, but that's what I just got, was when you speak it, that frequency shifts things.
Oh, the things I see in my head are
within the whatever. Yeah. So
yeah, there's all these symbols and different things. And if any of you watch the Matrix, you see that thing where they have the screen that it's all the digital stuff coming down. I'll see it like that with sacred geometry and with all these different symbols and stuff coming in and working with our energy fields and shifting and changing our structures, our, just our makeup, our DNA. And so that light language, it may not have a translation. It may just be about the frequency that they wanted you to integrate with.
That's the impression I'm getting. And when you just now said that, the geometric shapes coming in, that's what I see at night when they wake me up to see that I'm being downloaded.
Oh, see?
I will see a stream of geometric symbols, and they're moving around and doing all these things as they come in.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's because the reason I wake up is because back in, oh my gosh, early 2000s? Early, I mean, we're talking a long time ago. Yeah. So at least 15 years ago.
Wow.
Maybe 18. Well, yeah, maybe 17, 18 years ago. Wow. Anyway, I was at this group meeting at this place with Mom. She was doing a talk, and it was an experiencer group. And so that, it's just kind of like this. We just started talking about all kinds of things. And they were just talking about getting downloads and things like that. And on whatever was said made me question, I wonder if you can be aware when you're being downloaded. And I heard, well, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask, and so I'm like, okay, then I choose to be aware every time something happens to me, especially every time I'm being downloaded. So anyway, things started happening immediately, but a lot of times I'm downloaded at night, and I wake up and I see this stuff, and then now it's like, it's like, okay, here we go again. And I'm like, why am I awake? And they said, you wanted to be aware. And it happens, and then I know, and it's like, but I go right back to sleep once it's done. But I remember.
Wow.
I remember it happened. And it was really cool. At first, it was like just one symbol, it was just like a symbol here, a symbol there. And then the next time they had maybe a few more symbols. It was just symbols, stagnant, like 2D symbols, okay? And then another time there was like full of symbols, and then they gradually started moving. And it was like, and you could see they were 3D and stuff. And so it's like each time it was getting more intricate.
Isn't that cool, though?
It's so cool. So cool. So I'm just telling this because you can just ask and it'll happen. But if you're getting stuff like this is what it is.
We do a lot at night. I've told you I wake up talking. I'm talking weird. I'm giving messages, and then I'm talking in light language. There was one time. You
recorded yourself, didn't you?
Yes, one time I set the recorder because I thought I got to catch this. And so I remembered waking up and speaking. I think I was speaking light language that time. And so I'm looking for it on the recorder. And when I found it, so what I did is I put it up on Audacity, which will show you when the lines get real, it's like calm. And then, so I'd go to those and see what that was. Right. Usually it was a dog making noise because, I have some dogs. So, but this one mark, I go to it, my little dog, Latte, barking her little head off. That did not wake me up. I had no clue she barked. Right after she barks, I start speaking. It lasts about 15, 20 seconds, done. She goes back to, there's no more barking, there's no more noise. But what was she seeing? What was she sensing that made her bark at the same time that I did then start speaking the language? So that was interesting to me because I don't have any recollection of her barking.
Wow.
So yeah, so there's some interesting things that happen, and we're open to the experiences once it no longer scares you. I mean, I wake up with people standing in my room all the time, and then they'll disappear. I'll be like, oh, I wonder who that was. Where before, if I would have woke up, I would have been like, like, that's scary. But
things like that appear to me when I'm in that half. It's like I'm that, well, we know now it's the theta state, but it's like in that right, you're between awake and going to sleep and sleep. You're like in that stage, and you go through it when you're going to sleep, and you come back through it as you're coming back out. And when you're in that state, you're in a really deep place, and this is where you see things. This is where you're looking through dimensions at that place. And that's where I'll usually I can see things, but it's like, and my mind wants to say it's a dream, but it's so real that I know it's this state.
Exactly. One of my favorite ones, I think I woke up and there was this little boy standing by my bed, and he's holding something and he's smiling and he's just looking at me, and I'm just sitting there like, sometimes when you wake up you see it and then it fades, and I'm looking and he's still there, and then it took a few seconds, then he faded out. And so of course my big question to everyone was, who was the little boy, right? And I was thinking, okay, was that somebody's child that had crossed over and they're going to come for a reading or something? What's happening here? No. And so I ended up asking Valerie, what do you get with that? And she's like, oh, well, that was your hybrid child. And as soon as she said it, confirmation. I was like, oh my God, I got to see one of my hybrid children. Wonderful. For people that don't know what that is, go look it up. No, just kidding. But a hybrid child is one, like an off-planet child that has your DNA and the DNA of another species or an advanced.
But see, that makes so much sense because they live in another dimension.
Yeah.
See, we're in that state, we're seeing into those dimensions.
And he was so excited to get to see me. And
he was probably excited that you saw him.
Yeah, that I'm seeing him, exactly.
Oh my God, my nose is going crazy again.
You're gonna watch Julia do that through the whole show, because that's what happens when channeling comes in. Even the way she does it. I like it. So those are exciting things that I think people don't realize. Maybe they're having those experiences and maybe don't realize what they are. And I had, everybody's always saying, well, if I go on ships or the ETs come to see me, how come I don't remember it? And then in their next breath, they might say, oh, I had this dream. It's like, that's you remembering it.
Yeah, and dreams, that's a safe way. And that's why we choose that way so many times. That's a safe way. I mean, that's what our conscious mind is doing. It's putting it in a place, a nice, safe container that we can handle and deal with it. And then as we're able to accept it, well, then it starts surfacing as, that might have been real.
Yeah.
And it starts moving through those layers. But as long as you can classify it as a dream, I mean, anything can happen in a dream, and it's fine.
I have to say this out loud because it's very strong in my head. Whoever is seeing the Palladian behind Julia, yes, you're right, he is there. Somebody is seeing it and they're doubting it, and I just want to make sure they know that.
What do you see?
Oh, you asking me or them?
You or that person, whoever wants to,
whoever wants to jump in. This wasn't a comment in the chat room or anything, but it was just a really strong feeling I had. But what I'm seeing behind you is a male. He's in uniform. He's got the traditional, because this is what we expect to see, blue uniform with kind of the gold outlines, and blondish hair, blue eyes.
Is this supposed to make my nose itch?
Yes, he's taller, so I'm not seeing his upper half as far as like he wouldn't be on the screen. You'd see him to his chest, and then, but in my mind's eye, I can see him, and there is.
Excuse me. See, it's affecting all of this.
I love all the confirmation. There are 3 others waiting to speak to you from that same collective. They're a group that come together that are going to. Speak through you, or speak to you,
or
however you want to bring that in.
Or speak to you.
To me. Yeah, they're letting me see them. I'm like, hi guys.
Yeah, you're the one that sees them. I don't sense them.
You don't? Yeah.
I know about the board.
Sneezing, the itching, they have to bring it in. Okay, and I'm going to tell you this. They used to bring it in a very physical way for me when I would start channeling. All these symptoms would start happening. Okay, he's coming in. I can feel it. The head's tingling.
Yeah,
my eyes want to roll back in my head. I'm just kind of in this space. And then when I was less doubtful that they were there, and then now I know that I'm very connected to Daniel the Arcturian. I don't even have to think about it. There's no physical things going on. I just move over. He comes in. Boom. Yeah. So when you get out of that doubting Thomas.
Well, it's probably because maybe they want to do it a different way. I mean, I'm used to what I'm used to, and if it's something, it's like this board. I'm trying to understand them, and whatever they want to do, and they're still talking. I mean, I'm still sensing them the same way as I normally sense. It's like I just know things as I'm getting things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe someone else would do a different way, and so I've got to figure that out, whatever it is, and start sensing it. I mean, it's doing all this, but it's like, okay, we'll just get to the next step. Because I think all that was happening before when I was starting to do, when you were pushing me.
Pushing me.
Because this nose thing has been going on for quite a while.
That has been one of your signs for sure. And then the ears, getting there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to say hi to everybody that is saying, we're getting people putting in where they're from.
Hey.
That's always cool. We love seeing all around the world. We got Brazil in the chat room. We got Louisiana in the chat room.
Fantastic.
We like hearing that. We like knowing where you guys are from, and we will go back and look at that a little bit later. We got South Africa, Tallahassee. To me, that's fun. We got Australia in there. Very cool stuff, you guys. Thank you for coming and listening.
Thank you. Yes, welcome. Please join in. If you've got questions,
freaking adores you, Julia. She freaking adores you, and I don't blame her. You're amazing. So I'm just going to shout that out with her. If I had my pom-poms, they would be rattling. She's nailed it.
You guys are so sweet. You're silly, but you're sweet.
Great. Yeah, it's all good. Rhode Island just jumped in. So yeah, I just love to shout out to all of you guys in that do come in and chat, and all the listeners. I know that we got way more than that are in the chat room, so our appreciation. So,
definitely chime in if you've got comments, if you've got questions, if this is a group thing that we're doing here. So
yeah, and meaning Julia is going to channel the group, and so that's what's up next. And as we just kind of give her the space to bring in the message from that collective, that board that she is.
You know how much I want to hit you on the head right now?
That's what she means when she says I push her.
Uh-huh.
You do it all day with Kaya. You get on there and just. But
it just happens. Nobody's pushing me.
Oh. Well, we got different styles. I push. Kaya just sits and listens and lets it happen. And I don't know. Could you imagine what I would do to Kaya if he was on this show?
What would you do?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
You never know until he's actually here, but I'd probably push him to do that too. So. What do they have to say?
It doesn't work that way. See, when you do that, that's when they go, nothing comes in. It's like it comes in different.
Well, I want to talk about the Matrix, because that is originally what we put on the banner about our subject today.
Yeah, so I know they'll start coming in.
Yeah, they're going to start coming in, because I'm going to start lighting them up here with all kinds of misinformation, and they're going to have to come in and correct it. Okay, so just take everything you hear here with a grain of salt, you guys. This is all about discernment, right? So the Matrix, we're being plugged in. I've had sessions, 3 now, I think. I seem to be on a theme where when they leave their body, they go to another reality where they're being told they're going back. They notice that it's familiar to them, but yet people are passing them by like they haven't been gone that long, like they went to the bathroom or something, and that's it. And so they're coming back, and these people, these beings are all walking by and just like, hey, George, kind of thing. And they're like, man, I've been gone for like 84 years, and they're treating me like I just stepped out. And they realize that they've only been gone for moments. yet they lived a whole human lifetime. What do they got to say about that?
Well, they're reminding me of the session I had. Because you said, okay, you said first they plug in. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, so the thing that comes to mind for me is like the Matrix, you know, where they're all in these little cocoon things and they're plugged in, and that scene's kind of gross and dark, and it kind of makes it look intimidating and scary. But if you go to the movie Avatar, he gets in this little clamshell thing, and it shifts his consciousness over to the avatar, and he's having a great time. He's playing, he's living. Yep. And then when he goes to sleep, he goes back to the other body, right? Mm-hmm. That one to me is like, what are they telling us? What's happening here? Are we living in dual dimensions, dual realities?
More than dual.
Dance, right?
more than dual. In fact, and that's
keep it simple, but yeah, tell me what you're getting.
Okay, so like in the session that I had, and it was my session, and it was just like that. Where you talk about coming back from somewhere. I was coming back into town, and it was like a futuristic looking place, and going, and I went to it was like a high rise or something, like an apartment. And it was almost, I kept thinking it was two different things, but the way you're just saying this now, maybe it wasn't, because it happened like it was all one, but I couldn't understand it like as one. But when I went up to my place and I'm looking around, and Mom did this session with me, and she's like, okay, well, where do you eat? Do you sleep? Wherever? And I laid down on like something, and I plugged myself in. I mean, literally plugged myself in.
Yeah.
And it was saying, okay, that when I did that, then that uploaded or something, everything that I just experienced or whatever, it went somewhere. Okay. And I can see it going. Now, then that scene shifted into like what you're talking about, where now I am in something like a cocoon or something. And it shows like, I kept describing it as tentacles, because it's got all these lines going out, and then I could see that stuff was going up, and all these lines, I mean, I guess imagine they were energetic lines, but each of these lines would go to another experience, to another life, essentially, to another, something. One might be like the life I'm living right now. One might be ancient somewhere. One might be on another dimension. But see, it's all going out.
You're doing it all from that one plugin.
They kept calling that my core.
Oh.
And seeing these lines that were going out, they were all dropping down into these different various experiences, because they're all just dimensions, right?
Yeah.
And this is how I started understanding simultaneous time, was when I saw this. It was like, this makes sense, because it's all it's just things, they're just different time experiences, they're just different time frames, that kind of thing. Okay, so it's dropping down, but then it's showing me that whatever's going on in those various lives, those experiences are feeding back up to the core. All right? The core is processing it, and then that feeds on up to something else.
Yeah, the soul self, or the, yeah.
So, there, but it's very similar. Yeah, it's like, it makes sense. It makes total sense as far as, and I don't know if it morphed into something that wasn't a body, but it kept looking like a body to me. Like, it's like, and it could be that's, I've seen other things where it's like I'm in suspended animation and some things and stuff like that. And that could be kind of like that too, where that's the core being of you. And it's having all these experiences, and then it just feeds, it comes in, processes, and maybe it goes back and forth even. Oh,
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What have they got to say about that? No longer hiding the throat. Now it's like, get it out.
I'm feeling a tugging here, so there's probably more to say, but we'll see.
I think there's more to say.
Yeah.
Let me see what we got in the little chat here. Okay. If I've more than likely had many past lives, why am I only awakening to me right now? Is this experience an awakening?
No, that's a great question. And but look at your awareness though. See, you're aware of this one, and now you're aware that there are others. That's a big step right there.
Yeah.
Now, where we're going is where we'll be aware of this one, and we'll be aware of more. Now, the reason you're aware of this one is that's your choice. That is what you choose to be conscious of. That's what you're focusing on. That is your choice. It's like changing a dial on a channel, on the TV, like we used to have the old round ones.
Yeah.
It's like that. You're just flipping to a different channel. You're on this channel right now.
Makes sense.
And through a session, you can see other channels, you know, and you can go visit them through different things like that. But this is the one that this consciousness wants. It's experience it's having. So that's the one you're focused on. That's the one you need to stay on. You can go visit other ones to learn from, but to live there and to stay there with this consciousness, that defeats its purpose. Mm-hmm. But as we keep growing and becoming more awake and aware, we will be aware more and more of these other lives that we're having, because the mind is able to comprehend more. It's able to conceive it. You know, it's just a matter of it being able to do it. It's going to happen around us anyway.
Sorry, I didn't mean to shut that off. I was trying to show you something as you're saying that, and I'm going to see if I'm going to be able to do this. It's
okay.
Setting it up. It's going a little bit slower than I thought. But
you share the screen? Or?
Nope, I'm going to do this.
Oh, yay!
Daniel.
Yay.
So I channeled Daniel, and this is a very good likeness of Daniel. It's somebody's beautiful art. And as you're saying that, we visit other likenesses of ourselves. Yeah. Daniel is a masculine version of myself in an incarnation in an Arcturian body at this time. And because we are the same energy, we're able to do the channel. So one of the things that I was told is that he also channels me on his planet.
That is so cool. I wonder what you have to say.
Oh my God, I can't imagine that they sit still for it. I don't know. But, you know, I might be bringing them information about what is it like to be in the human consciousness. What is that duality like? What is that?
You know, what a cool thing. Because we're thinking, oh my gosh, you know, we're channeling these beings from, you know, they're so wise and so great. And we don't think that we would have anything that anybody else would want. And it's like our human experience is probably very, very big. It's a big deal.
Well, and I had this experience. This is how I found out. I went to go channel Daniel. You know, I get my little do-do-do, trying to pull him in, you know. And all of a sudden, I'm on this ship, and I feel like I'm in this other body. Okay. And I said, what's happening? And he said, oh, I'm channeling you this time. And I was like, wait, what? And then it's like, well, yeah, why wouldn't he do that?
Yeah.
You know, why wouldn't that be mutual? But I don't know that, you know, sometimes when I'm being channeled, maybe I'm not consciously aware that that's happening, but they let me be very aware that time.
Very cool.
So, and it was really an interesting thing to have the bigger head. Yeah. And I was picking my hands up and going, what's going on? And they have 3 fingers and a thumb. And I'm just like, oh, this is interesting. And their fingers are longer. Yeah. And, you know, and the body was very narrow, very thin. And the arms are very long.
It's so weird, isn't it? That tall, thin body.
Yeah. It's like, I kind of like this. And they're very strong, you know, and a different kind of, you know, muscle or structure than our own. And just being able to feel that and experience it, even though it was just a very short amount of time, I got to have that for a minute, and it was like, that was cool.
So cool.
Yeah. Now, could you imagine what Daniel's saying when he's like, yeah, I jumped into that clunky human body, and it was like gravity was holding me down, and that hair kept getting in my face, and then this little dog keeps jumping up on my lap, and my nose kept itching. It makes you wonder, what could they possibly be saying about that?
So I got to have the human experience. It was just for a few seconds or a few minutes, but
I got to be a human for a second. I love it. How exciting is that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so, oh my gosh, we're just like having so much fun. The time's just going bye-bye. So,
gosh, it is.
One of the things that I really think is important that we were talking about, that we wanted to share today, was how when we heal ourselves, we're healing the world. Yeah. And since you're so connected with this panel, with this board, whatever you call them. I call them a council.
How about the team?
The team. So you got the team there with you. What can they tell us about when we heal, when we work on ourselves and we heal ourselves and we find ourselves worthy and love who we are, what happens?
it's all a frequency thing. So as we do that, we are raising our frequency. And then that is raising our frequency right around us. And then that starts reverberating out, because we are always influencing anybody and everybody that's right around us. So they are always being affected. So just by doing that, you know, and including the earth, I mean, it's just everything around us, because everything is energy. So if we raise our frequency, then we're affecting everything right around us. And then that's going to start reverberating out. And that's how you heal yourself, you heal the world. I mean, anything you do to better yourself, to raise your own frequency, your own vibration, you are doing a magnificent piece of work for the whole collective and the world.
Now, that's too,
and the universe. So it goes beyond the world.
Yeah, and the multiverse and beyond.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because it affects.
Why is my head? What's going on with my head?
Oh, yeah, they're getting in there.
Okay.
So, is it a little fuzzy?
Yeah, but it's really, it's like right at the temples. It's like a lot of pressure. It's hurting. And that's not normal for me.
Tell them to lighten it up. With me, when they were doing that kind of thing, it was because it's like you were saying earlier, the TV channels, switching the channels.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the right antenna or frequency, so to speak, for the collective that wants to come in, mm-hmm. they're going to download that so that they can talk to you. So that's what's happening.
Oh.
Or at least that was my experience, so I'll say it like that. So you're getting a download so that the next group can talk to you, because you haven't made connection.
Stay tuned, everybody.
So when we're talking about affecting the collective like that, now we know that each one of us has our own very own unique reality. We're creating that reality. So when you're healing yourself, you're creating a new reality. You're shifting your energy, your frequencies, your vibration to no longer resonate with the illness and all of that good stuff. And then the world outside of you starts to mirror that back to you, right? And you're starting to see that in everyone and everywhere. So how does an individual reality affect the collective reality?
And actually, this is wonderful, because we talked about this morning, and it's because it's a very, very big deal. This is one of the most important things to understand, because everybody's wanting to affect the big picture. They want to affect things on that global level. And they're like, and that's why we get so drawn in. Gosh, you guys, come on.
A box of tissues over here.
But, you know, and that's why these things are affecting us emotionally. A lot of these things that are happening, they have the charge that they do because we really want to do something. We want to have an impact. We want to change things. We want, you know, that's why they're being shown to us. Is like, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to get caught up in it? Are you going to let it pull you down, get all your emotions all charged up, and then just pull you into that and suck you in and just be an emotional whatever, ping pong ball? Or are you going to choose your world, the world that you want, the world that you wish to see? I mean, wasn't it Gandhi that said, be the change that you wish to see?
Well, I don't know if it was Gandhi, but I know that saying, yeah.
Okay, but that's the saying. I think that's, I want to make sure I was getting the saying right. It's like, whatever it is that you want to have happen, you've got to start with yourself. You can't do it on this global level. It just doesn't work that way. We do it with ourselves.
They say that's why when you point, there's 3 more pointing back at you. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because it's not about them. It's about you, because they're the mirror for you to show you what it is that you are wanting to work on for yourself.
Yeah.
And so as you work on yourself and you do things that, you know, whatever it is that feels right for you, but you work on you and create the world you want. And it all starts from here. I mean, and I know this sounds simplistic, and some people, it can't just be thoughts, but guys, it is. It's thoughts. Whatever, your thoughts become things. You've heard that, you know, you've heard it, and we're just going to corroborate that.
Here's a little hypnotic or hypnosis thing that I learned, is that our minds, the subconscious mind more than the critical mind, when you close your eyes and you imagine you're at the beach and you can feel the sand under your feet and you can hear the waves and the mist of the ocean is touching your skin, you can really be in that in your mind and you're really visualizing it. Your mind does not know the difference between that and actually being at the beach. The memory that you created with that, going through that scenario in your mind is the same kind of memory as actually being there. So our minds are very powerful things. And when we're creating, and I did this when I went to Maui with my kids, when we were creating that trip, we knew what hotel we were going to be in, and I kept wanting to manifest the best trip for us. You know, this is a rare thing, we get to go do it. And so I kept a picture of that beach in front of our hotel on my screensaver, and every day I'd sit down and I'd see that, and then I would close my eyes and imagine walking on that beach, feeling the wave come up and hit my feet, the sun coming down on my skin, the smell of the air. I mean, took myself through all of it every day. And when I got there on that beach, I felt like I had been there 100 times already. It was exactly like I had imagined it. Everything played out the same way, even the sounds, you know, the kids getting out there and playing for the first time in the sand, all of it was there. And, you know, we create with these moments. So powerful.
So powerful. Exactly what you said. The body doesn't know, the mind. I mean, you're creating these scenarios. And so what it's going to do is, okay, if that's what you're picturing, whatever it is you're picturing, whatever it is you're thinking, then it's going, okay, that's your world. Okay, we're going to bring that in, because
that's good or bad, guys, good or bad.
Absolutely, good or bad. So that's why I would say it's so important to monitor what is going on up there. Yeah. What are you thinking? And if you're thinking, you know, destructive thoughts, self-destructive things, and you're going to create that kind of a world. Yeah. You're going to create a world.
The universe is saying, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm broke.
Like an aye. Yeah, absolutely.
Or I'm playing on the sand on the beach. Okay, and the universe is supporting you and bringing that to you.
Mm-hmm. So absolutely.
People always. Do you ever get that statement? People always do this, or this always happens.
Yeah, this nobody ever. Every year this happens to me, or whatever. Well, of course, because you made it. You know, this is your creation.
It is. Yeah, I'm trying to stay out of the sun, but look. Ooh,
that's really cool.
So I'm leaning. Yeah.
I encourage you to play with this stuff. I did this. I didn't even realize. I mean, I knew I was doing stuff, but then you know how I did this thing once where I had pictures, and I had like I guess it would be like a dream board, because I was always into motivational stuff, and I mean for a long time, and they were always telling you to do things like that, set goals for yourself and put pictures up and do all these things. So I wrote all these things down, and I think I had some pictures, and then I stopped doing whatever it was that program I was doing. I wasn't doing that anymore, and I just kind of lost track of, you know, it kind of went. And it was several years later, or maybe a couple years later, I found that as I was going through stuff, unpacking, whatever, moving things around, and I found that list of things that I made, and I looked at them as like, oh my gosh, every single one of them happened. Yeah. Every single one of them.
It's fun because I did a vision board, and this has been 3 years ago now. So I did a vision board, and I wanted to go to Hawaii. So I'm going through the little magazines. I find this Hawaiian Airlines plane. I put that up, and I find a picture of tropical sands and put that up, and you know, and a few other things, whatever. And that was the year that I had some friends call me up, and they said, hey, what's this QHHT thing you're doing? So I'm telling them about it, and they said, well, we've got a condo over here in Hawaii. We're living there now. If we use our airline miles and fly you out, would you do a session on this? So I got to stay there for a week. They flew me out on Hawaiian Airlines, and we're in the Hilo side of the Big Island, and there's all these trees that looked quite similar to what I had in my pictures. And I was sitting there going, and it didn't even dawn on me at the time, you know, and I get back, and then you stumble across the board, you know, and I'm looking at the board, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Hawaiian Airlines. Oh my gosh. You know, and I'm looking at all this stuff going, that all worked. That all happened. And so, yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, those vision boards can be a real.
Absolutely. Because they really help train the mind. And the thing is you're not, you know, it probably didn't happen like you were expecting it to, or what you were thinking. And that's why you let go of that part of how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You just have your mind. You just have the pictures of what it is you want to have happen, period. How it gets there doesn't matter, because they can do really crazy stuff to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's where you just let go of any expectations of how it's supposed to happen. And because it may not make sense.
No. And you know, just like in the very current moment, we went to do the ESETI Ranch, right? And we're over by Mount Adams in Washington, and we're doing the whole Skywatch UFO kind of experience. And before we went to ESETI, we had that all locked in, and that's happening. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool to be able to go to Mount Shasta too, and just kind of do the ET, do the experience, because they got the whole Telos thing and everything. And we had so much fun last year. I was like, that'd be cool to be able to just go do Mount Shasta next. And then next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call. Hey, do you want to go to Mount Shasta in September? I'm like, oh yeah. So now I'm like, okay, what's next? What's next? What do I want to do now? Because I swear, when we let go of how, it just comes together.
I think Hawaii's coming up because you keep bringing up Hawaii.
Yeah.
So that must be coming.
When those restrictions lift.
Yeah. Well, you see, that's worrying about the how.
Oh, yeah.
So that's placing expectations.
That's coming. You're right. Nice catch.
We don't know when and how or where. I mean, it just will.
It just will.
We'll just be open to it.
Yeah. We'll be doing a video from there very soon.
We'll just show our feet in the sand.
Then when I go like this, I'll actually be pushing Julia.
In the water.
Yeah. Although I'm trying to see which way does that actually go. Maybe I need to push this way to actually hit you in the screen that they see.
No, you're doing it the right way. According to my screen, anyway. I don't know how it's coming out.
Yeah, I know. It's different on the monitor. So anyway, wonderful stuff. Love it. I am going to have to remember though next time to close my blinds so that when the sun setting isn't getting me in the eye.
You're in a different room. That's right. I forgot you moved to a different room because I was like, I never remember a window being there.
Yeah, I'm in a different room. Yeah, and that's good. I like it because I can raise the shades and I can see out, and I'm in the second story, so I've got like that bird's eye view of things. But right now the sun's setting there, and I didn't pull the curtains, so it's right there.
Well, I just saw a deer walk across in front of the window.
Aww.
Yeah, it's like,
see?
what? So yeah,
that's so awesome.
I love her windows.
The little critters. Our windows are good. Yes.
The windows are good. Yes. Sometimes I don't know if I said it on here before. I was in my other room, my office in there, and it faces a window. And I just see things walking by. I'll see deer walk by. I have some babies here right now. Have babies, and so that's fun.
I'd be out there throwing things, like grain or something out there for them to eat, or grass seed or something. I'd be like, here.
Yeah, I mean, these babies are so much like Bambi. I mean, they have all those they're so cute, and they just bounce and run around and just go crazy and everything. And the moms are like
tired. Yeah, doing what moms do.
Yeah. But one day I saw something, and I'm like, because something catches your eye, and I just saw it. It was like, what is that? And I was like, oh wow, a raccoon. Okay, that's cool. It's kind of waddling by, and then it was like, there's another raccoon. And there's another raccoon. It was like 3 raccoons went across from up. And then I think it was later that day, or it was the next day. It was really close time frame. I'm seeing something go across. I thought, what is it, a dog? I mean, because sometimes dogs are rare. I mean,
you don't see dogs. Could be a bear. It could be.
This was a fox, and it was like, okay, that's it, because they're smaller. It's like just something caught my eye. I'm like, what? And then it was like, there's another one, and there's another one. I'm like, what? 3 foxes?
You know what you're not aware of just yet, and maybe it'll come up in the next regression. But you're Snow White, and you're attracting all the animals, including the snakes.
But nicely, the snakes are away from the house. So I like that they're staying. I've asked them to. I've asked them, please don't come close. We don't need snakes close to the house.
That's good. I like that. All right.
Yeah.
So
that I do love animals. I do have something with them. I love them. So maybe and definitely here. Yeah, they're all around me, but it's not like I go out and birds land on my arm and.
I don't know. I'm not so sure that doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. I think you go out and you do that. Oh, and they come and land on you, right?
I do talk to them. I mean, I talk to the deer. There was one right outside the door. I opened it to let my cat, you know, she was thinking about going out. I opened the door and there's a deer standing there and she looks at me and I'm like, well, hello. And we just stood there looking at each other. It's just.
And you just had a moment.
Mm-hmm. We had a moment.
I like it.
Yeah.
Why not? So, all right. So let's just wrap this up with how do people create their own realities, and what, anything else about the Matrix? I mean, we've got this idea of we're
well, I think
in all these different
where the Matrix comes in, and that comes, it's like kind of like what we're saying with the core, and it drops down into these experiences, and the Matrix takes it to another level as far as it just being it's like different versions of the same, you know, this where the timelines come in, you know. Some people call them timelines, you could call them parallel realities, you could call them, I mean, there's a lot of different terms you could use, but it's like different versions of maybe your same scenario, but it's just playing out a little bit differently based on different decisions you made through your life or whatever. But it's like, but again, this is the one you're choosing to be focused on. Now you move in and out of these things all the time, but I think we're at the place now where we can be conscious of it, and we can actually consciously choose which experience we want. See, and that's where that creation.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that creation stuff again. It's like, what am I choosing? What do I want? That's how it does it. That's how it, you know, it attracts it, it pulls it in, but it's also, it's already out there, and we're just shifting these timelines, these whatever, these levels, these layers, whatever you want to call it. We just kind of move in and out of them based on our thoughts and what we're attracting at that point. So it's just.
So I had a session today, and I don't think she'll mind sharing. She's listening to us right now. This session, we talked about, she wanted to know what a certain date meant in the future. This date kept popping up, right? And so we were looking at that, and what was coming through is that this was a date that she's now has as her focus, and the date is 11/11.
Okay.
And it's now her focus. And so she puts all this energy into this date starting now. This date is important. It's important. This date's holding something very transformational for me. And every day she's putting that energy into that date. And so she's setting up that etheric double, or whatever you want to call it, that this date is important. And they said, if you make the commitment to do that every day right now, then you're going to shift timelines to the timeline where that date is holding something very important for you.
Doesn't that make sense?
It was so cool though. You know, it's like, oh man, I can just totally see this.
Yeah.
This build up of energy. And they said some of the changes are going to be happening along the way to get to that date. But when you look at that date, when you get there and you look back at today, you're gonna be able to see the massive amounts of change, even if it came in increments where it didn't seem so.
Well, it has to be supported. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but it's like that supports it. So then when you get there, your conscious mind will accept it because it was supported by all the events that happened up to it.
Yeah.
Because if we just went like that and all of a sudden we're in a completely different life, the mind has a little issue with it, you know, and that's why a lot of times we'll shift ourselves back.
Yeah.
If it's got to come, it comes gradually, then but see, that's why it does happen gradually. They're showing me right now. It's like, as we keep our thoughts, see, that's attracting these, that's building these concepts. It's building these, they're calling it like precepts. I don't know what that's an interesting word, but it's building these, it's like constructs. Okay. Yeah. And as we keep doing that, like I said, we're building these things all along the way. So that's supporting it. It's like if you just do something drastically different. I mean, that's what happens in a session. You know, in a session, we see something completely different. It's shown to us for a reason. But we can also see things that are very close to what we're at now. And that's what they're going to start showing us, is all these other possibilities, probabilities, and things that we can be doing. They're going to be doing, they're showing me, this is time. This is time for us to understand this more. That's why these questions come up like this. That's why they're prevention, things like that, is for us to really understand and take responsibility for our part in it. It helps to know more of what's going on. And so
it makes sense. Yeah. And it's, you know, just think where we'll be a year from now.
Oh my God.
You know, not just 2 months from now or 3 months from now, but a year from now, we're going to be drastically, not even just globally on a different level, But as individuals that are pursuing ascension, awakening, bettering ourselves, what are our gifts, you know, intuitive, fine-tuning those pieces, the auditory, the visual, the kinesthetics, the whole bit, you know, and how many people out there are experiencing that when they're close to somebody now, you know, people do this all the time anyway, but finishing each other's thoughts and all that different stuff. You're really connected to another person. There's so many times that you could bring somebody a glass of water when they're sitting there thinking, gosh, I'm thirsty. All of a sudden you're thinking, I need to bring them a glass of water. Mm-hmm. You know, there's so many different connections that are happening on such a deeper level now. And mothers with your children and fathers, you know, parents with their children. There's such a deep connection telepathically with your children. So play with that a little, play with it and evolve it. But yeah, we're going to, I mean, leaps and bounds from where we are today, where we'll be in 3 months, 6 months, a year. It's going to be pretty cool.
And I think that's why we're doing shows like this. And that's why it's to help people, like what you were saying earlier, as soon as you let go of the fear of it, because at first it's startling when things are starting to happen. And it's like, you know, but as soon as you let go of the fear, then more things happen and come in and you accept them. There is nothing to be afraid of. And I love, that's why I always say, play with it. It's okay to play with, have fun with it, you know, just see what happens, but definitely acknowledge it.
Yeah.
When you notice it, and now you will, maybe in the past you didn't, but now you will, because we're bringing it to your attention. Mm-hmm. And so when it happens, acknowledge, just like, aha, okay, I get that. And what that does, see, here they come again. What that does is that opens that door. So more and more can happen. But it's about you acknowledging and accepting it. And then it's starting to build your trust. You'll have your own path. Each of us has our own path to our abilities. And of course, it's nothing to be afraid of, because these are each and one of it's our abilities. These are our natural abilities.
Yeah.
We're just remembering them. We're rediscovering them. These have always been ours. So it's not like we're learning something we've never known. This is something we are very familiar with. That's why it will come very naturally, but we have to allow it and open the door to it. And that comes with acknowledging it. And then what else? My thing, usually when something happens, it's always like, well, now I go like when there's synchronicity things, it's like that. Of course, you know, of course it's happening, you know. And another thing, when these things were first starting, it would be like, oh, wow, that's really neat. That's cool. What else?
Yeah.
See, and that's opening the door. And that's like,
show me what I don't know.
And then and don't go to fear. There's nothing fearful.
No. Okay? You get so much more when you're not in fear, and that raises the frequency to where your levels of communication and all of that is so much more, you know.
Yeah, you can go to that excitement, like what else?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
You know, if somebody would have asked me 20 years ago,
oh my gosh,
what's an angel? You know, I would have been like, oh, that's one of the guardians of heaven, or, you know, whatever your biblical version of an angel is, and that would have had that that storyline behind it. Today, if you ask me what is an angel, oh, the angel realm. Yeah, that's part of you know, in my mind, that's no different than if you ask me what's an Arcturian or a Palladian or a Syrian or Orion Council of Light. They're all otherworldly beings that are very benevolent, that are here to help us to raise our consciousness so that we can evolve, so that the universe can evolve, so the multiverse can evolve. So, you know, and I know tomorrow that perception can change again. And that story for myself can change again, because I'm open for that to happen. Right. Give me more. What else is there? What else is there? You know, it's like learning that I have multiple lives going on at the same time and wrapping my head around that. And then they tell me Daniel's one of them. What? Wait a minute. But I channel Daniel. Well, why do you think you can do that? Oh.
Makes total sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, you know, there's so much connection with all of it. And then the more you realize how connected you are to all of it, the more expansive that idea can get. And what's beyond that? And that's where we're at now. What's beyond that?
Yes.
So what's beyond what we already think we know? And notice I said think we know.
We think we know so much.
I love that laugh.
Because that's how they show it. It's like,
Right.
it's like silly humans. You've just barely cracked open. I mean, it's just barely even cracked open. You've just barely begun.
Oh yeah, we're still on the pacifier, for Christ's sake. We've got nothing.
But isn't that exciting?
Layers
That
and
thing's
layers.
barely cracked open, and look what's happening.
Oh my gosh, no kidding. If we could only imagine beyond that. And again, one of the things that's been evolving for me is they showed me the hourglass. And up here in the hourglass, that's us going into space and being part of space and the universe and being expansive. And you can imagine yourself being consciousness floating around in space, right? And part of everything. And it's like, wow, that's so free. It's so beautiful. And then they said, okay, now come back down. And then that little skinny part there, that's you. That's the human body. And now go inward and go into the cells, go into the atoms, go into the whatever system.
Yeah, so the
expands
microcosm
out again.
They call that microcosm.
Sure.
The microcosm and the microcosm.
Yeah. So then they bring me into that, and then they make it just as expansive as being in the universe was. And they're like, and that's you. This is you. This is you.
Yes.
And I'm like, what? Multiple explosions going on all over the place. But they do show us this stuff on TV. I've seen it in shows, where they shrink themselves down and then they go into such a small space that it becomes expansive, and it's never ending in any direction. It's always continuing. There is no beginning, there's no end.
Yes.
So, all right.
And even though you
on their minds enough, or is there more?
Well, exactly. And even though you didn't say it, they want to say, because it something when there's no beginning and no end, and then they're saying, and anything is possible. So they really want to emphasize that. If we haven't said it, we said it at the very beginning. It's possible. It's possible. And I encourage you all to go find the old Cinderella song. It's possible. It's a Rodgers and Hammerstein version. It's a Rodgers and Hammerstein. It's who created it, and it's from like the original Cinderella movie. I encourage you all. You can. It's on. You whatever the music.
Yeah.
It's on. Yeah, it was on YouTube.
Because we found it.
And the song, it's called "It's Possible," and it's from Cinderella. So that's kind of how you have to look it up. Yeah. Go listen to it. It is so meaningful. And make that your song.
Your theme song. Yes.
Your theme song. Yes. Make it your theme song.
Listen to it every day, like an affirmation even.
Yes.
Yeah, because she takes herself from rags to her dreams, right? So,
yeah.
Right. All right. Is this good? Are we good, or do we got more?
I think we're great. I hope we're great. How's everybody out there?
Let's see. Jonathan saying we always seem to answer his thoughts. Well, that's that kind of thing. That's we're tapping in.
Yeah, we're all connected, and thank you.
Yeah, and we do have a Tammy's on there saying, "Can you give an example?" And I'm not sure where she put that in, so I don't know.
I think we did.
I hope we did.
I think we did. Let's just say we answered hers too.
Yeah. Unblocking the third eye, just ask them to come work on you when you're sleeping. How can you help increase the downloads? Not sure you want to, Amy. Ask for the downloads and the highest and best good for you, because if you take on too much, you're going to regret. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. I'm overstimulated.
Right. I mean, the thing that you have control over, I mean, you're going to get it at the appropriate rate, at what's right for you. Trust that. This is something you set up before you ever came into the life. So trust what you did. Now, what you can do and what you can change is that you can choose to be aware. And so that's what I encourage you to play with, is ask to be aware of what is happening if you want that. Yeah. Because there again, you might get some, like I get woken up in the middle of the night. And so, but it's not bad. It's just, why am I awake? and they're always saying, you asked to be aware. Oh yeah. That's good. Okay. And then I get into it and I'll enjoy it. And then I go right back to sleep. So look at things like that, how you can explore it more rather than trying to rush the process. You allow yourself to go through the process just as you designed it.
Yeah.
Because you knew what you were doing when you did that.
Now, we do have a question on here about COVID, and I'm going to do one real quick little thing with that because I don't want us to get into the debates about COVID. But I was talking to you the other day, and I was telling you how my sessions, I continually hear this phrase. Well, about 6 months ago, I started blah, 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 blah. And their awakening process, even if they were on some sort of awakening journey, their process kicked in about 6 months ago.
Yes.
Do I think COVID has something to do with that? I personally do. I think that that's the upside to the experience. And, and that's what I like to look at. What is the good that's coming of it? And I am hearing it over and over and over again. About 6 months ago, about 6 months ago.
Sessions and stuff, and just what you see in the world. And what they have said in sessions is people have to wake up. And this is something we chose to do on a collective level. You have to keep getting closer and closer. It's like we chose on a collective level. It's like
we're going to keep talking. So I'm gonna go close my curtain. You keep talking.
Then we speak to this version of Tracie. So anyway, it's that we everybody needs to wake up, and so they're finding it's like as a collective level we chose to do this. It's like what can we do on a global level that will impact more people, and this is where this came from. And I know it sounds weird. It can sound really wonky. Hey,
I came back.
And it could, if you're just coming in and going, doesn't make sense, but you have to pull yourself away, look at it from a really broad objective place, with all emotions removed. And it's like, how can we get people, because that's what they say. It's like, we've got to shake people awake. That's where any earth change things that go on, it's to shake people awake. It's to rattle their foundations. Well, see but usually those happen in isolated areas of the world, and they're hitting pockets of people. They're affecting people in other areas just by knowing about it, but it's really affecting the people that are right there. Well, it's happened on a global level. So this is a big collective thing that we have chosen to do to get people awake, to get us all awake. And like you said, and what's happening is people are going within. I mean, we isolated, it's like, you look at all these different things that were happening, and it's forcing people to change their lives and change their lifestyles and everything. And immediately the planet was responding. I mean, that's amazing. That happened.
Yeah, plants and air quality and everything was improving.
Yeah, and so I think it was just to show, people, I think there's a tendency to not believe that we really have that much effect and impact on the world around us. And it's like showing, yes, you do.
And one of the frequencies I was told is coming in right now is a frequency to shift us. Those of us that still need a little nudge in this area to love our planet, love the fact that it feeds us, it houses us, it takes care of us, love our planet. And that is actually a frequency that is, like they have the Schumann resonance and stuff like that. The energy that's coming into the planet is shifting us to be more in tune with Gaia, to be more in tune with the water we drink, the food we eat, the nature we walk in. And so that's going to be really cool.
Well,
we have a really good question in the chat room too.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, when you look at humanity, at least the humanity I see, now we pick what we want to look at, what we want to see. Okay. Right. I'm just going to say that now. If you choose to see things that are not doing things positively, that are not, sending out good, positive messages or things like that, that's your choice. That's fine. I'm not saying, oh, naughty you. I'm just saying that's fine, but don't be surprised by what world you're creating. Okay? Because whatever you choose to keep putting in your environment, via media, via whatever, see, that's going right in and affecting your thoughts. And that's going to attract similar things to you to be in your environment.
Yeah. And just like you said, it's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It's just creating your experience.
Right. Absolutely.
So if you don't like the experience, you can change it. If you do like the experience, keep doing what you're doing.
Right. And so I have noticed the human, I've been watching this shifting, and it's like people, that I know. I mean, I live in the woods. I live in an area that's major hunter territory. You know, people hunt, but it's like I'm noticing a shift. People that were normally hunters, now there's probably some that are still doing it, but I've seen hunters change, and it's like I can't kill things now. I can't do this. They have they're shifting. You know, that's what's happening. And you know, you just look at it from this bigger place, and you'll see it happening. You know, you'll find the other two if you really want to see it. It'll be there too.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing people shifting and having more respect, and you know, that's why all these recycling centers are opening. I mean, they've been open and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and more people are doing things on this level to help, you know, raise money for these things, or actually do drives and things like that, where they're, you know, that all helps. You know, that's the shift.
Yeah, and when you can come forward with that compassionate, loving heart and donate or share or put time in, that creates the shift as well. Doing it.
Yeah, because I don't remember that. I mean, I'm in a small area, you know, so we get things a little later. You're on the coast, so you might have things earlier than we would here. But it's like I'm thinking 10, 15 years ago, I don't think we had that. You know, I have to go back. I mean, it wasn't like it is now. I feel like it's much more now. I mean, people are much more conscientious of recycling and just doing things that repurpose. And, you know, it's like we're not.
How we do it, kicking and screaming. You know, it's like, I remember when they changed soda pop cans to where you had to pay a deposit so that you would bring them back in and get your deposit back, right? Mm-hmm. You know, 5 cents can or whatever. And we're like, oh my gosh, what a pain in the butt. We got to pay that. And then we got to keep track of all of our cans and bring it back in. And now it's so second nature to return bottles and cans and recycle plastics and cardboard and all of that. And why were we kicking and screaming so hard about that? And all of these other changes that need to be made, maybe we're inconvenienced for a little while we learn a new behavior, but then it's like, no big deal. So yeah, we got it coming. Yeah, before we end the show, somebody was asking us to talk about the Mandela Effect.
Okay.
So what do you got to say about that?
Okay, my thoughts, and when I was first doing some research on it, because I had somebody come to me, I'd never heard of it. This was like a few years ago. I had never heard of it. This guy was asking me all about it, and what do you think of this? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, well, you should, because your mother's in there. I mean, everybody keeps referring to your mother, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should look into it. I don't, you know. And it's like
she was in there. Okay.
Yeah, like they kept. I guess some people keep saying that this is just like what Dolores talked about in her books.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, when I started doing some research and trying to understand it and stuff, and because this person was really rattled. I mean, it was really shaking his world that this stuff was going on.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. You know, it's like, what? I know this was my this is the way it was. I know it was. I know it was. I know it was. Why? You can't tell me it wasn't, you know? Well, what I got as I was doing that is like, these are, you know, what I said earlier, we're naturally moving among dimensions all the time. We're just moving in and out of them, and things will be slightly different in some of these dimensions. You know, they're just, may have one thing move, one thing, whatever, just little differences. But we do it all the time. But usually when we do it, there's something, it's so subtly different, we don't really notice. We don't pay attention. So this is just, to me, it's just something like that. It's just.
So have you had any experiences with that?
Well, only when people start bringing up some of these things, and it's like, how do you remember this? And I think Kai and I were talking about it one day, and it was like, I remember some of the famous ones that they keep talking about, like Curious George. I remember him having a tail, and they say he doesn't. I remember and I still have yet to go look for this, the Disney, you know, their whole thing, Tinkerbell would come out and she would do her little wand, and I think they say that doesn't happen. And I'm like, I remember Tinkerbell coming out and waving her little wand, and it kind of dots an eye or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it goes,
yeah. And they're saying, nope, never happened. I'm like, I beg to differ. So see things like that, and it's like, and we were talking somebody at the Monopoly game. They were doing research during the whole thing. We were doing this and looking things up, and something.
Kidney's moving location was one of them. Have you?
What was that?
kidneys moving into a different location in the body.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Mm-hmm.
I have not heard that one.
Yeah,
no, that would be interesting.
That one blew me away because they're like, where are your kidneys? And I said, in the lower back. They said, no, they're not. I said, yeah, they're in the lower back. And they're like,
yeah, they're in they're in that little. So where are they saying they are?
Up towards the middle of the mid back, still up in the rib cage.
They're they're kind of in that vicinity. So,
but not the lower back where I remember them being.
Yeah, they're actually higher than what they seem like they should be. But
they're saying they would be in the power chakra. I remember them being in the sacral chakra.
Okay.
That one kind of blew me away. Yeah. Now I've acclimated to where they're at. But,
I'd never heard of
and that kind of happens too. But I have several situations, my own personal ones. My first one that I really remember is when my sister posted a picture, when you go to the fairgrounds or something, everybody gets in the little Western clothes and you get that little Western picture.
Right.
She posted one like that. And I was like, oh, that's cute. And then I saw I was in it. And I was looking at it freaked me out because I had absolutely zero memory of being in that picture. Wow. I don't remember getting in that outfit. I don't remember standing there with my sister.
Were you young or were you old enough that you would remember?
I was probably 19, 20 years old in that picture.
Okay.
And I was like, what the hell? I'm in that picture. And I tried to remember it. I couldn't.
Wow.
Not remember it. My mom finally, I said something to her about it and she was talking me through it. And as she talked me through it, I feel like I got downloaded with the information so that I could have the memory. But still to this day, I'm kind of like, I don't really remember that trip. I'm like 20 years old. How do I not remember that? It's not like I'm a little kid.
Right.
So then there was one where I was sitting by my brother and he was talking about Dad having us do the rosary at the dinner table for like 30 days in a row. We had to do the rosary. I just hated that. And he went on and on and on about this, doing the rosary at the dinner table. After dinner, we'd have to do this. And I was like, I don't remember that at all. I must have been little. That must have been when I was pretty small. And then my younger sister, who's 4 years younger than me, sits down on this conversation and he's talking about it. She goes, oh, I remember that. I hated that. That was such a blah, blah, blah. And so they're going, she's 4 years younger than me. If she remembers it and he's remembering it, why can't I remember it? Don't remember it. Went on a trip, came back, buildings that weren't there were there. Yeah. Buildings that had already been built were just getting started being built. And I'm like, okay, I know that building was done when I left. And why are they just now starting it? Did they tear it down? Did something go wrong? What happened? And I even asked my older son, I said, when I left, that building was already built. That house was already built. And he goes, yeah, isn't that weird? I thought so too, but I guess not. He walks off.
And see, that's what our minds do. It's like, oh, they come up with an explanation and it's okay.
Yeah. And then when they finished it, it looks just like I remembered it looking. So I have no doubt it was there.
Right.
And I'm getting more and more of these kind of memories where when I see something that wasn't there before, it really catches my attention. Yeah. An area that I worked in for 9 years, drove by this street all the time, back and forth. I maybe was a couple months that I had been there, drove over that way, drove down that street, and here's this little Mexican restaurant. And I was like, when did they put that up? And the person I was with goes, what? I said, that little Mexican restaurant. You mean the one that's been there like forever?
Yeah, years.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, it hasn't. I mean, I worked out here. I would have went and tried it. On my lunch break, I would have tried that little restaurant. And they're like, no, that's always been there. I'm like, no, it hasn't. So, I mean, I've had a lot of those experiences.
Yeah.
And
but then you're more aware. So because that's where you are. You are aware of things going on. For most people, that's happening to them and nothing catches.
Yeah, they're discounting it or.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think when this happens and they are aware of it and it rattles them, see, that's rattling the foundation. Remember, anything that rattles the foundation, it's getting your attention, and it's waking you up. That's the whole, I feel like that's the whole meaning for it. It's just
and it's
attention.
And it's my impression that that's us jumping to a new timeline. Like you said, we're on a different timeline. We accelerated something. We did something different. Put us on a different timeline. And
yeah, we're probably doing this all the time, and just don't even notice it.
Yeah, but as we become more awake, we're going to start catching those differences. If you've seen The Butterfly Effect, that one is a good movie. It's a good example of every time he goes back and changes something, you know, and then goes back to his current day, it's all different, right? And so, yeah, I mean, they give us the movies, right? They give us the Matrix, they give us the Butterfly Effect.
And the one I was telling you about yesterday.
Sliding Doors was another one, right? Or is that the way it was called?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So,
and the one I told you about yesterday, see, that's long. It's very similar to the Butterfly Effect, but it's really cool because of how they do it.
And that's the I Am Erica.
Being Erica.
Being Erica. And I don't have Hulu, so I can't watch it. I may have to go sign up for a trial. I went to go find it. I'm like, dang it, I don't have Hulu. So, yeah,
I love shows
that's
like
on my
that.
list.
I just love things that make me think and make me, you know, that they're opening the mind to possibilities. Because remember,
possibilities.
Anything
is possible.
Yay!
Yeah. And we've probably already done that, been there, you know? Yeah, I remember another one where I had this in a meditation. I was going to be traveling, and where I was going, they were showing me energetically something was going to be taking place there. And right before I got on the plane, I said, am I still doing that energetic thing when I get there? And they said, it's already done. The only thing that would change it is you not getting on that plane. And everything about that trip was like a deja vu. So what's that, right?
Yeah. I was just going to say deja vu. That's where I think I've seen it written someplace or whatever. It's like that's kind of where we're doing dress rehearsals, whatever. We're kind of playing it out ahead of time. Or it could be we're just, who knows what we do in these other levels. We see such a small, minute piece of what's actually going on. Yeah. And we very well could be playing out ahead and seeing, okay, well, which way do I want it to be?
Yeah.
How do I want to practice this? What do I want to do?
Played out 100 scenarios, you mean? Like, okay, and then we picked one?
Yeah. Exactly.
Come back in, play it.
Yeah.
Wrap your mind around that, everybody. Woohoo!
I know, it's exciting stuff. It really is. And that's why just stay open to it. If you go into fear mode, everything goes like this, it just clamps down. And you're really not doing it, just doesn't help you or anybody else, but if you can be open about it and just like,
it's an adventure.
It is an adventure. And what else? What's happening?
Why did that change?
Yeah. And then it goes, then you're shown. You'll be given the answers as well. You get that, then you just ask why, what's going on. You will be shown what it is but you have to show an interest. Otherwise, if you're clamped down, you're not going to be shown anything. What's the point?
Yeah. You got to be ready to be expanded. Yeah. I like that. Okay, well, that gives everybody a lot to think about and a lot to wrap your minds around.
Absolutely.
I think we have an announcement about a new level 3 person. I personally would like to make that announcement if I can. Congratulations to Deb Taylor, who got her level 3 this week. So exciting.
Deb's in New Zealand. And that's our first level 3 in New Zealand. So exciting.
Yes, that was such a fun thing to have happen this week. So very fun.
Congratulations, Deb.
Yeah, we can't wait to see how you expand that in New Zealand. And hopefully their lockdown will release so she can actually see people here real soon.
It will.
Yeah, it's getting better and better every day. That's right. So anyways, Julia, talk to us about more classes. You've got a level 2 class online coming up.
Yeah, we always have this is QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique that my mother developed. And we have those classes, the level 1 classes to learn exactly the technique. Those are out on, they're perpetually running online. So you can take those if you want. And then we have the level 2 class where that's honing your skills. It's like going to that next level of, to the step of better mastering. Again, mastering your craft, it's what you do. If you really want to do this as a career, that's the natural next step to go. You really want to hone your skills. That's what level 2 is about. And because of COVID, I mean, really, it's why we've done it. I mean, we were doing these all live, all around the world, but because we can't travel right now, that we shifted the class and made it an online class. And we're about to finish our first one. It's been tremendously successful and accepted. I mean, the feedback we're getting is amazing about it. So
Yeah.
we did everything we could to make it the same live experience, as best we could. The only thing that's different is we're not all in the same room. We are all on the same screen. So yeah. That's cool. And so we don't have that camaraderie that way, but we are all together because we can feel everybody. You can feel everybody.
Yeah,
there,
I've heard a lot of comments about it's a wonderful class, and yeah, it sounds like it went off really well. Yeah. And it sounded like it was highly recommended to others to do the level 2 that way if they're feeling like they want to move forward now.
Yeah, and it really is good, as we look at it. I mean, I know it was something that we were pushed into doing, that we were thinking about doing, and we just kept putting it off. This pushed us into doing it, and it's like, this is really, really a good way of doing this, because in this process, people are able to review the material over and over and over again. And we have weekly live sessions of different pieces. And then between those times, everybody has time to really be reviewing the material. So I feel like in that way, it's got an advantage over a live class, because in a live class, it's like a marathon run. You've been there, and
Yeah. You're trying to get it all in and condense the time.
Right. And they're long days, and and you have, our minds, we have points that it's like, okay, I mean, you're absorbing it, but consciously you may not be, it's like, might not be aware of what you're getting. And so in this way, you can take it in the pieces. It's the same, any online class, you can do it at your pace and do it in the pieces that you can.
Yeah. And we do have a question in the audience here about, are you going to be bringing a live class to Arkansas anytime soon? So I'm going to let you field that, because I know there's still some restrictions in place with that. So
absolutely, we have restrictions just like everybody, and so right now, no, as long as it's hard for people to travel, we're looking at it like next year. It's like the next time that we'll be starting to plan classes. We're looking at some areas, but we don't feel like there's any time between now and then that we can establish a live class. Yeah. It's just too, the traveling restrictions. I mean, yeah, you can go someplace, but then, if it's outside the country. Now an Arkansas class is great for anybody in the local area, but even there, we're going to have the restrictions on the venue that we get. And so, so as long as things like that are happening, it makes it very difficult. So it's like we have this setting, and this is wonderful. I'm telling you, it's really, really good. I was very surprised. I was very resistant to do a live level 2. I mean, to do an online level 2.
Very resistant. Yeah. I'm witness of the resistance.
Yeah. Very resistant. But then once we got it all designed and we started acting it out and doing it, I get it. It's like, no, this actually is really, really good for everybody concerned. So, yeah. So I'm, I love, the venue that we use in Arkansas is wonderful. I mean, these people are great. And I would love to do that. And so, it may happen. It may very well happen down the road, because that's nice and convenient here. But right now, we can't even look at any place. I mean, we're just thinking about it and hoping that in a year from now, we'll be able to have live classes.
So yes, live classes will come back when everything gets easier and better. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like right now. Now they've shut down things in Valley for the rest of the year. But even when we were thinking it was still going to happen, it was like up until it's like, well, even if we got there, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks and everything. It's like, well, that's not. We can't ask people to do that. It's just that's. Right. So it's all those things, and flying. Especially like that. I mean, it's probably just a matter of getting used to it and everything. It's different. I've flown a lot, and flying, traveling in general can be a drain on the body. Now you throw in all these other things and you've got added stuff. And it just goes back to the same thing. It's like, I don't want it to be that kind of an experience for anyone, you know, so.
All right. So moving to the next subject of Soul Speak and your class online with Soul Speak, the book. Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Just very quickly. This is, and we're going back to the healing yourself. You absolutely can heal yourself. These are all just, these are messages from your team. We're going to call them a team, your guidance team. It's just the way, yeah, exactly. One's like your nose itch. See, that's a message. So, oh God, really had to go crazy again, right?
These guys.
Anyway, so yeah, this is just stuff that it came through sessions. When my mother first discovered it, it was just showing that this is a way that your guidance team is communicating. It communicates with everybody all the time anyway. They're always communicating with us, just like through these things we've been talking about. But if we don't hear them, if we don't understand that, what they're doing, then they're going to go to what we understand, that what we'll listen to, when we won't listen to anything else, and that's the body. Yeah, we will listen when things are happening to the body. We will pay attention. Let me put it that way. We will pay attention. And that's usually the whole thing, is just to get our attention. So it's understanding when things are happening to the body, what are they trying to say? Because they are messages. Absolutely. Yeah. Every single thing that happens to the body is a message. Even things that happen to your vehicle, that's a message. Okay. and they want in the house. See, these are all vehicles. These are all representations, symbols of ourselves. So everything like that is a message. If things are going on, they're messages. All right. And they told me back when Mom was first talking about it in her classes, and they started telling me, you've got to put this in a book. This needs to be in a book. And so in my book, it explains all the resistance I had. I had resistance. Yes, I had resistance.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Anyway, so, but it's the resistance I had to get to that point of doing it, but I did it. And I got the book done, and, but it's just translating the language. It's a language. It's all it is. And so it's understanding that. Anyway, and then now, for those several years, I've been getting messages. And I think you were even saying, you were pushing me too. You got to do an online course. You got to put this in a course.
Oh, yes.
Like, okay. Yeah. I get it. I know. I got to do that. But
don't worry, I'm pushing her on the next thing she's supposed to do too.
Yeah. But it's like, but, time, whatever. I'm traveling. I don't have time. I have to have time. Well, then COVID happened, and it was like all travel stopped. All of a sudden I had time.
Yeah.
I had where I could focus, because I couldn't focus. Anyway, and I could feel that pressure. It was just like Tracy.
It was my etherical double was looming. Julia.
Yeah.
Get it done.
It was like, get it done now. And that's how they talk to me. It's like, because I guess that's what I understand. I don't know, or that's the point I push it to, the resistance. And
your nose is going to be rubbed right off your face by the end of the show.
Anyway, I developed the course, and and I really enjoy it. It's so much fun, and it's an extension from the book. It goes into more depth, and we've added more newer cases and things like that to really help understand how the messages are. I've got interviews with level 3 practitioners, QHHT practitioners like Tracy. Tracy's got several interviews in there and stuff of different situations where we're actually working.
Oh, I know where the kidneys are.
Yeah. We actually work on situations she had, as well as some cases that she had herself, as far as clients and the messages they got. So this is always reinforcing what the material is. Now, what's cool about this course is you will be certified. When you take it, you will be certified to be able to practice Soul Speak, and you'll be able to work with other people. And then we also have live sessions, afterwards. After you graduate, we have live sessions where I work with you, and we can work on anything if you're still having questions you don't understand, or like we did with Tracy, we just work through your stuff, your issues. Yeah, and help that, because once you understand,
full-time job.
Yeah, once you get it, then now you know how to help somebody else. Exactly, so it makes sense. And
as a practitioner, it's a priceless piece to going through the interview process, looking at What
Yeah.
are they here to heal?
Mhm.
And having that concept behind it and being able to work with that. And I've said it before, it gives you that guidance to know what questions to ask and
Mhm.
how to engage and bring forward that information. So very cool. It's a very
Absolutely.
cool
Anyway,
book.
if you want to know more about QHHT classes, you can go to qhhtofficial.com and you'll see what we have available. You know, like I said, level 1 and level 2, whatever you want to do there. We even have level 3. We're going to do those online as well. So I mean, we're just, you know, let's just blow this thing out. Let's just figure out what all we can do here, you know. 'Cause remember, anything
Is possible.
Yeah.
So we didn't even practice that. That was awesome.
And Soul Speak, if you're interested in maybe learning more about that, you can go to juliacannon.com and you'll get all the information you need there. So exciting. Tracie, how can people find you?
Oh, come to traciemahan.com. That'll get you all the information. I'm on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, although I kind of forget I have Twitter. Does anybody else do that? There's so many to keep track of.
Yeah.
I have a YouTube page that would also be fun to have you come join me over on YouTube. And that's where you'll see shows like this and the show I do with Jason and the 5-card pull. I do a 5-card pull for people just to get the energy of the week, and we navigate through that together. So come find me over on YouTube as well. So yeah.
Yeah, these things will help you explore. What they're showing me right now is this is helping you to see some of the things that, you know, this is what we do. We are doing different things, and this is just giving you permission to do your thing.
Yeah.
Or what you can do. Don't try to do what we do. Just figure out what you do. You know?
Please. Took us forever to figure out what we were going to do.
Yeah,
don't take ours. But yeah, do your thing. Do what you came here to do, because I don't think we're really getting options anymore. It really is. Do what you came here to do.
Yeah.
You'll be glad you did. It's life-changing.
Yes.
So wonderful. Well, I'm done talking. How about you? We good?
Me too.
All right.
Love you.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.